Hello all, I'm Archana, Assistant Professor AI Systems IYT. In this video, we are going to discuss the Gantt chart. So, how the Gantt chart is helpful tool in the software project management. So, basically, Gantt chart is commonly used in the project management. It's one of the most popular and useful ways of showing the activities or tasks or events of a project, which is displayed against time. Along the along the top is a suitable timescale. So each activity is represented by a bar. So here the Gantt chart is also called as a bar graph. The position and the length of the bar reflects the start date, duration, and end date of the activity. So when we are saying the Gantt chart is a useful tool, so what it shows at a glance, when we look at a particular Gantt chart, it shows much of the information at a glance. So what information that? So first thing is what the various activities are there in your project, when each activity begins and ends. So basically the start and end date for the project, how long each activity is going to take, means the duration for the particular activity, and how long each activity is scheduled to last. So where activities overlap with other activities, whether they are overlapping with each other or they are running independently. So this also can be visible over here, and the start and end of the whole project. So the Gantt chart you can see here in the, this is the example Gantt chart you can see here, very basic Gantt chart where you can see on the left hand side the task name, that is the list of activities are there, then the duration means how much time the particular activity is going to require, and what is the start date and end date for the activity. Based on this information, here you can see on the right hand side the particular paragraph is prepared, and each activity can be colored in the different can be, you can use the different colors, so it gives us the more clearer view, we can say. So today the Gantt charts are most commonly used for tracking the project schedules, project progress basically. So for this, it's useful to be able to show additional information about the various tasks or the phases of the project. So for example, how the tasks are related to each other, how far each task has progressed till now. Means suppose we are in the middle of the project, and suppose the higher authority of the company wants to check where we are on the project right now. So it should, these all the things should be visible to each and every person who is involved in the project. So for every stakeholder. So what resources are being used for each task and so on. So these all the things should be visible. And for showing these all the things, to make the things visible, we can use the Gantt. So here is one more example of the Gantt chart. Here it is a detailed example. You can see here. Here we can show the milestones as well. Means whether the particular milestones has achieved in the progress or not. So you can show the milestone here. We can show the dependency between the different tasks or different activities here. We have used different colors here for showing the different activities. Here you can see that here this line is showing how much this task has progressed till now. So it is showing the progress till now. At any uh, stage of your progress, you can see that particular activities, how much it has progressed. So this is the detailed Gantt chart, you can say, which is in which we can visualize the multiple things about the project. So there are the 6 steps. So basically we have seen how to, what is the Gantt chart and how it looks, how it helps in the project management. So how to make it basically. So there are the 6 steps to make a Gantt chart. The first one, step one, is review the scope baseline. So in review the scope baseline, what we need to do, we need to first gather the team who is going to work on this particular project. So gather the team and review the approved scope baseline. Whatever the project charter statement or the project scope baseline statement is prepared, we need to review it with whole team, which consists of the 3 components. The first one is the scope statement. Then second one is the work breakdown structure, and the third one is the WBS dictionary. Okay, so these 3 steps are, 3 things are already there into the scope statements. We just need to review all the 3 things, and based on the 3 things, we'll go to the step 2. Then step 2, create the activities. As the WBS is already created into the step 1, so using the same WBS, that is a work breakdown structure, what we'll do, we'll use a technique called decomposition. So the project team breaks down each WBS work package into the activities, and the final schedule needs to be the one that is effective and efficient. So we can't create too many activities or too low activities. We need to create just the enough number of activities. Okay, so it is also important to identify the deadlines and milestones while decomposing the project. So whenever we are going to decomposing the project into the smaller activities, we just need to identify the milestones as well as the deadlines for the particular activity. That is also very important. As you can see here, simple example of the Gantt chart, it is shown here the task 1. This is the timeline of the task 1. Task 1 is completed, so it is going to the task 3. And here we are achieving the milestone in between of the task 3. And the task 3 deadline is this one, but the task 3 has missed its deadline. So it is necessary to identify the different milestones as well as the deadline for each and every activity. So we can identify, we can check, or we can visualize whether the particular activity is meeting the deadline or not. So these are all the things we can monitor over here. Step 3 is sequence the activities. So every activity is related to one or more other activity. So every activity except the first and last has a relationship with a predecessor or and a successor. So there are basically the four types of relationship for sequencing the activities there are. The first one is a finish to start. Second one is a start to start, then start to finish and finish to finish. Okay, so finish to start means what? Basically, we cannot start the successor activity until and unless its predecessor is finished. In start to start, cannot start the successor activity until its predecessor has started. Means suppose the activity A and B are there. So A has to first start, then only I can start the B because there is a relationship start to start. The third one is the start to finish. Cannot finish the successor activity until its predecessor had started. Okay, means A has to first start, then only the B can finish. B can start at any time. What is the dependency is what? B cannot finish until the A has started. Once the A has started, we can finish the task of B. And the last one is the finish to finish. It cannot finish the successor activity until its predecessor has finished. So here the relationship 1 and 2 are the most commonly used. Finish to start is a sequential relationship and start to start is typically a parallel or overlapping relationship. Next we'll go to the step 4. In step 4 we need to estimate the resources. So before the duration can be estimated, resources must be identified. What kind of resources your project or activity is going to require? You need to identify it and estimate it. So resources include the labor, material, and equipment. All the things. Step 5, estimate the durations. So duration is the time between the start and end of an activity. Review the resources, relationship, and sequencing, and then estimate the duration for each and every activity. Because when we are saying estimate the duration is dependent on the availability of the resources as well as the relationship and sequencing between the different number of activities. Okay, so based on that only we can estimate the durations. And the last step, that is the step 6, is develop the schedule. So here, create the Gantt chart by loading all the information into a project management software tool. We can use the different types of the software project management software tool. For example, the Smartsheet online tool. We can use the Microsoft Project, Primavera Project software. With the help of that, we can create the Gantt chart. Once it is done, review the schedule and ensure that all the schedule risks have been addressed. Thank you.